Hey guys, so we just got done with American Horror Story history of the Supremes and what I would like to see in previous seasons that's gonna be connected to future season. Now this time we're going to be talking about another prediction. This time is gonna be a prediction about what if they make an American Horror Story warlocks. Now the reason why I say that is that due to season 8 that was mentioned about, you know, the arrival of like men could be also supreme as well, but they'll just have like a different title, but they will also have to master the 7 wonders as well. Now we know that previously in the other video we know that the supreme is a female that embodies all the gifts or even all of them, and that the Supremes, what we used to know is that they're the most powerful of all witches, right? But as we got to like season 8, we end up seeing that there was a new concept that has come in. We found that the witches has like a I would say this is why they always have like the duality and things. So if you have the sun, you also will have the moon, or you know, vice versa, black or white. So in their part you could say that the females could be considered as the white counterpart of the hierarchy, because the witches are stronger than the warlocks. So we got more information about the witches if you want to look at that in the previous channel, which is the previous video, which talks about the history of Supreme. Now we're going to be shifting our gears to I would say the lore and history of the warlocks, as well as something called an alpha. Now we know that only a warlock could kill another warlock when they do something, I would say, bad. It's just their tradition. Now they also have like a school for you know, for students as well. So they have Hawthorne School for exceptional young men, whereas the female counterpart has Miss Robichaux. So these two counterpart schools have their rules as well as their participant of what test. Now we got an introduction to the warlocks in season 8, but let's just say that this was not the first time we seen the warlocks. We actually had one of the warlocks which was part of the council penbook, as well as I forgot the other guy's name, but he was also a warlock. So we know that the alpha is the most powerful of all witches as well as warlocks. So he's even more powerful than like the supreme, because but it is very rare that we have seen, you know, the warlocks when it comes to like their supreme, because it is very rare for a guy to master 7 wonders. Now the fact that Michael Langdon was able to become like a, you could say a warlock, was because due to the fact that his father, which is, you know, Satan, was able to give him more powers to master the 7 wonders, as well as the warlocks. I would say the warlock wonders, like what test that they have. Now we follow like the Grand Chancellor, Shibley, all these other Henry, as well as the other warlocks, and their first scene that we saw when we was watching episode you know, I think 8 or episode season 8 episode 5 or 4, we saw that the warlocks were basically figuring out like about Michael, and they managed to bail out Michael out of jail just to get them under his wings so that they could teach him, because they thought that he was like the one in a lifetime warlock that could, you know, one day submit their position at the seat of the table, they said, so they could be on top instead of being, you know, secondary class to the witches, because even the witches has more. So we got the rankings based on the order. But before we could go more into that, I like that the entrance of the Hawthorne Boys School was like this doomy light color, whereas in the witches side is more bright. It shows the duality contrast of where their position lived. Now, because of Cordelia, you know, exposing the witch school to the world, they had to go underground, right? But when you look at the duality as well as the position of each level that witches are supreme, so supremes are considered as level 4s, whereas regular witches like that hasn't known anything, they're like level 1s, and then witches that's like level 2s or 3s. The council that sits under the supremes are considered as level 3s. So when we got to like the whole murder house as well as crossover with Coven, which became Apocalypse, we got the introduction to like the alpha, and that the alpha is so rare that, you know, even Murder Snow thought it was just a joke, because not everyone could become like you know, supremes, because that never happens. And even based on like their tradition and how they make their to become level 3s, they had to, like Michael Langdon especially, had to go through those same tests. Like one of the tests that he did was to find the book of Adam and Eve, the new Adam and Eve, where he basically created, like, went to the mirror and pull out the book where it was just similar to like divination, when they had to figure out a description of what the person is writing down, or even like find the nearest item that belongs to someone willingly without really thinking about it. Another power that we saw when Michael was taking the warlock, I would say 7 wonders. Well, they only have 4. I think it was 4 or 3 different type of things. He basically had to use something very similar to transmutation, but at the same time, the last thing he had to do, I think it was his hardest, was he had to change the climate temperature in the room, and he ended up making a blizzard instead. So it goes to show that the warlocks could at least control, I guess they're like earthbound type of witches, you know, they could control the weather as well as environments, whereas the Supreme could do mostly all that, but even more. So we could never learn more, because we never got, like, you know, different warlock supremes. So this concept is more new. I would love for them to like expand on that, to give us more about like the alpha. Whereas at first I even thought that Timothy was going to be an alpha to stop Michael, but it wasn't the case. But I would love them to go back to the season and reintroduce the warlocks in a different season, just like they did Coven. And hopefully one day, potentially, we end up getting like an actual warlock supreme alpha in the series. But until then, this was just a discussion in history about the warlocks. I hope you guys like it. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and that will be it. Bye bye.